Hi, and we're live. Hello. I'm here with my special guest. Yes, hi, Dagmar. And she is, wow, you are just a firecracker, motivational speaker. You are a business coach. You encourage women to pursue their dreams and desires. Now, she fought, oh my goodness, I've heard her story already. She fought against some real world obstacles. I'm going to let her share that part of her story, but it's mind blowing and she's just a rock star. So let's talk about taking your power back, girl.
Oh, Melinda, thank you for that absolutely amazing intro. I don't even know how to follow that quite. But yes, I I've had a couple of well, it's not just a couple actually. It's like there's been incidents in my life where I really have had to take my power back. And I would say that my father was one of those instrumental teachers, as well as my ex-husband. And would you like me to tell you a story about that?
Yes, yes, please.
So, my story around my ex-husband, I got married to him when I was about 24, and he was 10 years older. And to be fair, the age thing was never an issue in actual fact, but it was everything else that became an issue. So, because he was a bit older than I was, we agreed to have kids pretty much right away. And so I had two daughters within 19 months of each other. They're only 19 months apart, which I bought into that. That was not a problem at all. And I love my girls absolutely dearly. But it's one of those things you go into the relationship thinking you know the person that you're getting into that relationship with. And then as it goes on, boom, hello, you start getting these eye-opening little things happening. And I found it very much with him. Craig was his name. I say was, he has gone to the spirit world. Um, it was very much about it's my way or the highway. And I just had my second daughter, and we were talking about me potentially going back to work. And I said, well, actually, I think this is a great opportunity because both the girls were really young. I think this is a great opportunity for me to go back to college, to university, and to study because I've always wanted to study law. And I was 28 at the time. And he basically said to me, what do you want to go back to school for?
Mm.
Aren't you going to be way too old by the time you finish? And oh, nobody's going to hire you. And I don't want to spend the money on this. Why don't you go work down at the local grocers and that kind of can be your lot?
Mm.
And it was like, you got to be kidding me. Like, this is so not what I had planned for myself. I want to make something of myself. And that was one of many conversations that we had where it just became boom, boom, boom. This is so not right for me. And I did end up leaving, and he wasn't very happy about that at all, obviously, because he
Mm.
lost control. And his philosophy was always, it's my way or it's the highway. And
Mm.
you know what it's like when someone puts you in that position, you go, that highway is looking mighty fine. And that's kind of
Hi.
that, yeah, that's it, bye. And that's kind of what happened. But even my father, and I didn't even realize the links with my father. I mean, I adored my father, and for a long time I was the between my sister and I, I was the older one. I always did the right thing and the respectable thing and this and that and the other. And but it was always when I followed his line, when I followed his advice, when I did what he wanted to me to do. But
Mm.
all of a sudden, because I did get to study law, albeit a lot later. I was in my 30s when I did actually get to study law, and I was working for patent and trademark attorneys. And I got to the stage where there was, let's just say, some not very nice things happening in that workplace. But I got halfway through my law degree and I got to the point where I said, I just can't do this anymore. This is the whole thing. It was like this snowball effect going on. And I knew I was done in law. I
Oh.
I'd done what I set out to do. I proved to myself I could do it. I proved to myself I was very capable, and I still loved the law, but it was no longer giving me that sense of justice, which was something that was really core to one of my values. And when I quit that, I also became like the black sheep in the family to my dad. So all of a sudden, my sister became the favorite one, and I had this huge fall from grace. Like, how
Mm.
can you quit law and you're starting your own business and you're never going to be able to cope and you're never going to do anything? You're never going to make anything of yourself. And
Wow.
it was that
Oh.
downward spiral. And even when I was 40 years old, my father said to me, I found a job for you. And before that, when I was in corporate, I'd worked in quite high positions. And he said, this job that I've got for you, it's not as much, not as high as you had previously had. It's only an admin assistant. Mind you, it's on the other side of the city of Melbourne,
Wow.
driving miles to get there. Cost a lot of money to get there in between public transport or taking the toll roads. And I was doing all right for myself because I had my own business. And my dad said to me, oh, I've got this job and, I've called in a few favors and, I
Mm.
think this is really good for you. And I said, Dad, no, thank you. I'm doing okay. And he said, well, this is a great opportunity for you. I said, Dad, I'm making more money in my own business. He said, I don't believe you. I said, I go, Dad, I can show you the numbers. I got the numbers. No, I don't believe you. And it's like, well, I'm sorry. I'm 40 years old. I'm old enough to make my own decisions. Thank you very much. And he was not a happy camper. But I believe very firmly that there's many different kinds of abuse. And for me, it was breaking free of these two men who very much wanted me to do what they thought was in my best interest rather than me respecting my best interests.
Wow. Well, and I
Yeah.
think that happens in a lot of relationships, I really do. I do. Wow. And I know you shared that with me before, and it still blows my mind when I hear it. Like, wow. And
I
my
know.
spirits just crush hearing that. Like, wow, that's awful. And I just want to hug you. I do. I just want to give you a big hug.
I have to. I have to. But
Yes.
but if I didn't have that experience, I'm a very strong believer in the positive. I most of the time I'm a cup half full person. And I really believe that that was a lesson that I needed to learn. I needed to break free of this very disempowering situation, both from my ex-husband and from my dad. I believe in a lot of ways, they on a soul level stood up and said, we're going to teach you this lesson. And
Mm.
it was up to me to break free of that. So I do feel like if I hadn't had that experience, then I wouldn't be the person that I am today.
No, definitely not. And I'm glad that you shared that you were a little older when you went back to school, because I know
Yeah.
sometimes there are people out there watching that are like, "Oh, I'm too old. I can't do anything new. I'm too old." So I'm glad that you broke free of those limitations.
Yeah, and that's so funny because the ex-husband used to say exactly what you just said. I'm too old. I'm that dog that can't learn new tricks. That's what he used to say because he was terribly unhappy with the work that he was doing. And I said, "Well, why don't you go out and do something new? Why don't you, go for something else?" "Oh no, I'm too old for that." Mind you, he was 35 at the time, or 38 at the time. And it's like, you know, it's a mentality thing, and I
Right.
do believe that our mindset plays such an important part in what we can achieve. If we keep telling ourselves I can't, and again, it's that I can't thing. To me,
Right.
that I can't, they're the two most take two debilitating words in the English language. If you keep
Right.
telling yourself, I can't, well, that's okay. You can't. You absolutely can't. But what if you could? What
Right.
if you could? I just believe that we have so much potential that we could achieve so much more in our lives than we give ourselves credit for. This I can't business. Well, if you keep saying I can't, then that will become your destiny.
Exactly. Exactly. And now someone might listening to you, and this just popped in my head. They might just say, "Oh, you're just lucky."
No, I don't think I'm just lucky. I think I've worked very hard to get to where I am. I mean, one of my philosophies is about that we do need to take a leap of faith. My motto is life is not about sitting on the sidelines. It is about taking calculated risks. Now, I say calculated because we need to weigh up and balance it's whether it's a good risk. Like, I wouldn't want you to cash in the money on the house and put it on red on the roulette table. That is not a calculated risk.
Right.
But I do think, it is about the opportunities and evaluating, is this a good opportunity? What is good? What is bad? How do we go forward? Making a plan. And okay, not all plans come to fruition, but
Mhm.
if we go in with a plan, well, we have a direction, we have a course that we can follow.
Right. But that seems so scary for some people because what they're in right now is safe. It could be very toxic. It could be very toxic, dangerous even, but yet they
Yes.
stay in that comfort zone because they know it. And I know because I've been there. I know that for sure. What can you say to somebody to give them some encouragement to maybe look that the glass is half full or that that future might look a lot more promising than what they're in right now?
I can answer that for you because I know what that was like. Before I left Craig, both my girls were under 5. I had 2 daughters under 4 years old when I left him.
Okay.
And I was thinking to myself, am I doing the right thing? And I beat myself up over that a lot because it actually took me 2 years from the time I made the decision to leave to actually leaving. And the funny thing is, I had a very good friend who still lives in Australia, who I was talking on the phone with, and he had a similar experience. He'd been through that about 12 months before. And he was the one who said, from the time you make the decision to the time you get to the other side, it's going to take you 2 years. And I
Hmm.
kind of didn't believe that, but it was a little bit less for me, but it was there or thereabouts. And I do still believe that it was the right thing to do because I said to myself, do I want to be like, as it happens, my mother, who stayed in her marriage for 20 years until the kids were grown up to leave him? Do I want to spend 20 years of my life playing it safe and being miserable for 20 years of my life? My kids aren't going to thank me for me being miserable for 20 years of my life. So it was a battle. It wasn't an easy decision because to go it out on my own with 2 kids under 4, that was still a brave step. But I just
Mhm.
said, I can't, if it's down to me, I know I can look after my kids, but I don't want to be miserable for the next 20 years waiting for them to grow up.
Right, oh, definitely. I've been there, girl. I've been there. And I had that same talk. Well, if I can just hold out until I'm 8, they're 18 or until they go to college. Yeah,
Yes.
it just what are you sacrificing? And I'm so glad and proud of you for doing that, making that decision. Really and truly.
And you too, because it does. It takes courage. And I think, as you say, how easy is it to stay in the comfort zone? Um, what I have spoken to a lot of ladies who have been in, like, for me, it's been an emotional ride, an emotional roller coaster where, well, you can call it emotional abuse if you like, but I have spoken to ladies who've been in the domestic violence situation, and to them, they keep thinking it's going to get better because they believe
Mm,
the person who's telling them that. Oh, I
right.
promise I'll never do it again. Oh, I had a moment. It won't happen again. I'll promise to get counseling. And
Mm,
my ex-husband said that to me too. He said, I promise to get counseling. And the night I was leaving, I didn't tell him until I was leaving until the day before, actually, because I was worried about what he was going to say. And he said to me the night before when we were having this discussion, oh, by the way, tomorrow I'm leaving. He goes, I'll get counseling. I said, you've had 2 years, 2 years. It's not
wow.
like in those 2 years I didn't try. I didn't give up. But you've had 2 years. You're saying this to me the day I'm leaving?
Wow.
Like, I'm done. I'm going. I'm at that door. See you later. It's like, and I do believe that when certain partners, whether it is male or female, I do believe it can be male and female. I do believe that when they realize that they're losing control, they'll do or say anything to
Mm,
keep you there.
right.
And that is something, just knowing that, that's super powerful.
Right. Yes. Yes, that is so true. That really is. I know you're speaking to my heart, and I know somebody out there has got to be in this situation and hearing that maybe for the first time, but hopefully this will help them really and truly.
Yeah, look, I really hope so too, because I believe, and I believe I'm not the only one who can do this. Other people can do this as well. It's just it is a matter of, getting some support, whether that's from family or friends or from outside sources from within the community. You do need support. Yeah, I don't think you can do it entirely on your own. To be fair, I didn't really have family support because my mum and dad were separated. They were living their own lives, but it was about getting other support, and we do need that in
Right.
some ways. And if you can get yourself, shall we say, an accountability person who
Yes.
can really help you with that, wow, that just makes you so much stronger, because nothing along this path is an easy journey. But once you get to see that beautiful light that's waiting for you on the other side of that mound, that little hill that you have to climb over, it's absolutely amazing. And you'll thank yourself for it. You really will.
Yes, yes. And you hit the nail on the head, especially if you're somebody that has that glass half full as you're going through it. You could be, and I've met many, I'm going to still say victims, even though they're survivors, that are still living in that victimhood. They are always, it's going to be, and I hate to sound mean, but like, poor me, I'm always attracting this loser and so on and so on. They have that negative mindset where nothing's ever going to be wonderful, that nothing's ever going to happen to them, and they're still stuck. They're not maybe doing that soul work to better themselves. But you're a shining example of that, really and truly. Now, what did that look like for you? That very first, those baby steps, if you want to call them that, into healing and even recognizing that this was an issue.
Oh, I think recognizing the issue was when I really felt as if I didn't have control, because he had control of the money, he took control of the way the household was run, and so in a lot of ways, I just felt very disempowered. And
Mm,
recognizing that, I mean, I'm a little bit hesitant to say this because I was and very humble when I asked my father can I please borrow some money from you so that I can leave this situation. And he see, you got to understand, these people who are, if you like, our abusers, they make themselves out to the world like they're absolutely wonderful.
yes.
Nobody actually sees the true picture behind closed doors. There's a reason why that saying, what goes on behind closed doors, is
Mhm.
exact that. So my first question, well, sorry, my dad's first question was, well, why do you want to do that? And it's like, well, you got to understand, you're not seeing the whole picture here. And so, it took a lot of courage. I asked for my dad for $3,000. So that was, at the time, that was more than 25 years ago. That was so I could get enough money for the first month's rent, so that I could have enough money for the bond, and just a little bit of money just to buy a few things. It wasn't even much. But I needed a startup. I mean, I was working, but I needed a little bit of help. And
Yep.
it takes a lot of courage to ask someone, can I please borrow some money? Especially then when you realize later on, this is the other person that I need to break free of. And so
Right.
I can assure you, I paid that money back super fast, because I didn't want to be indebted to my
Right.
father. But I think we need some help sometimes, and even saying, putting your hand up and saying, look, I do need some help. Can someone help me a little bit? And I think people do want to help. Do you know that
Yes. Yeah, yes, definitely, truly, they
it's
do.
it's about putting your hand up and just having that courage to say, I need some help. Can someone please help me? And usually that you will have friends or people within your circle in some way who will be able to help you. But it's all about courage. It's courage to take that first step. It's couraging to acknowledge that you don't want what you have. It's courage to to rely on other people, that you may not want to tell everything about your
Right.
personal life. So there's courage on so many friends. Sorry, courage on so many fronts. And if you can do that, oh my goodness, it's like I can only describe to you the doors just open up.
Yes, yes, they do. And once you start opening those doors, other opportunities come up, other people even come up. You might be connecting to like yourself, or you might have somebody else that is a great person that can help with doing this other wonderful thing that opens up into more opportunities. It's an amazing snowball effect when
It
the
is.
power of asking, just ask. Yes. I mean, I know I felt shame asking people to help. You know, I did. I had a little bit of shame going on there. But once you do, it was also very freeing. Personally, I felt very free. It's like somebody, I can tell somebody my secret, and I'm not so secure. I'm not very sure of my next step, and so on and so on. It was nice to have sounding boards where I was thinking maybe negatively or wasn't seeing the whole picture. Somebody else outside of my inner circle could say, "Hey, well, you can do XYZ instead. Why didn't you try that?" It's like, I never thought of that. Just like you say, just ask.
It,
Oh, I lost you. No, I can't hear you. I lost you. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, I can't. Oh no, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I am not hearing you. You were there, but now you're not. Oh, there you are.
now I can hear you.
Yeah, there you are.
How bizarre. I didn't do anything. I just unplugged something and plugged it back in again. The wonders of technology. Um, we were talking about shame, and I think sometimes the shame for us is, how the frick did I get myself into this position in the first place? I'm supposed to be a strong woman. How did I fall into this trap?
Right.
That was some of the
Exactly.
shame comes from, because you think to yourself, I should have known. And do you know what? That's funny, because my dad actually said that to me. Didn't you know before you married him? And I'm
Ooh.
going, no, actually, no, I didn't know. I didn't know.
Wow.
But then again, I think to myself, if I didn't have that, I mean, see, there is that wonderful thing about 2020 hindsight. But if I didn't go through this experience, I thought it's very easy to say, oh, it was all a mistake. But was it? Because if I didn't go through that experience, I wouldn't have my two beautiful daughters.
Yes.
And when I was 25, we went on this amazing trip to the USA. And it was my first time that I'd been overseas. And I got to see 42 of the mainland states, plus
Wow.
5 provinces of Canada, all on a 10-week road trip.
Ah,
And I know it was just amazing. And I think to myself, I wouldn't give that experience up. I mean, there were some good things in it. So, you know, we still have to think about the positive, and look to I always believe that we have to look at how far we've got, how far
yes.
we've come, not how far we've got to go. Because there's always further to go. There's always new stuff that we have to learn.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's that's a great way to think about it, really and truly. Because I know there was a time that's all I would do. It's like, oh man, this time is going by so slow. What have I accomplished? So yeah, thank you for that. That definitely, wow.
See, all of a sudden, doesn't that make you feel empowered when you can look at it
Yes.
that way? You go, yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Like, wow. Yes.
And I and
Yeah,
I
because I'm not the
I
same person I was when I started this journey. So yes.
and I
Go
would
ahead, hon.
agree. I would agree. I'm not. This is, excuse me. This is part of our journey, and I'm a strong believer in that. As souls, we have written a contract to learn certain things in this lifetime. And those were the things that I needed to learn. Thank you very much. Job accomplished. No, there's plenty more. Don't worry, there's plenty more. But yeah, I think that was something that I needed to learn.
Right, right. And sometimes they're harsh lessons or really, really tragic or hurtful. But yeah, no, I believe that too. And the same thing too, if I wouldn't have married him and went forward, I have three beautiful kids. And if I hadn't left him, I wouldn't realize what a normal relationship is. And then I have a son out of that union with my new husband. Like, there's just so many blessings and the people I've gotten to know, and yourself as an example. Just you don't see it. You don't see it right then.
No, and that's the same pretty much of any situation. And I'm a Cancerian, so Cancerians are all about the emotion. So when I'm in the thick of a situation, no, I can't see it clearly, especially with the emotional override with me. But it's when you get past all of the crap, you go, okay, I now understand. And then you can look at it with new eyes, with new perspective. And I would suggest that that's the same for a lot of people. You can't see it when you're in the middle of it because all you can see is the poo. The poo, you're just surrounded by the poo. And and you're going to find a way of rowing that boat up the upstream. And that's hard work. But then once you're at the apex, once you're at that tipping point, you can go, yeah, I got it now.
Yes. And
Did you like
speaking of,
that?
I love that. I love that. Just going through the poo.
Yeah.
So if somebody out there is wondering, well, what do you do now? Let's dive into that too. So you broke free, you're not doing the attorney, you're not in the legal land anymore. So what is it exactly that you're doing right now?
Well, essentially, I've had my own business for 18 plus years, and I really went into the personal development field. So, what I do now is a little bit different than what I did when I was in Australia. But now, primarily, I'm a business coach. So, for anyone who's got their own business, I want to help you escalate your business to the next level. I want to help you feel empowered. I want to help you feel good about running your business. And if whatever level you're at, I want to take you to that next stage. That's what I'm so passionate about empowering women to really fulfill their potential.
Ooh, I like that. I like that. Now, what if somebody's out there right now and they've just maybe left their abuser, or maybe they're just on that midlife time of their life when they have no idea, but they want to start a business? Is that something you can help them with for direction?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would really encourage having a conversation with me. I mean, I've got a freebie on my website. So have a check out my link tree. There's 5 steps to starting your own business. And I would use that definitely as a starting point. But then let's have a conversation about how business coaching can really get you off and running, because even if you're starting a business, there are going to be a ton of questions. You're going to think to yourself, I just don't know. I don't know what it's all about. And yes, there is definitely an investment in business coaching, but would you rather spend 6 to 12 months of your time floundering with the I don't knows and really struggling, or would you like to hit the ground running? So I can definitely help with that as well.
Oh, awesome. And all the links, I've actually put them in the comments section. So you just have to click on the comments there too. And if you're listening to the podcast or on YouTube, you'll find them in the description
Thank
below.
thank you, Melinda. I saw that. They're great.
Oh, yes. This has been beautiful. And I appreciate and it takes a bold person, a courageous person to share, because what was it like for you? But before my last question, before I let you go, how was it for you to actually start telling your story to people? Was it scary? What was it like?
Awkward, I think, is the word to start off with. When I first realized, no, realized is the wrong word. When I started first realizing is the right word, realizing that my story could make a difference to other people, I still felt uncomfortable because it's that how could I have been so vulnerable? How
Mm,
could I have been so naive? And those feelings come up definitely. And you do worry about being judged by other people. Like, she's a strong woman. Why didn't she know this? The same
right.
thing that my dad said to me. So, yes, you get those feelings, but that kind of you kind of let that go. I mean, I've just let that go. If you don't like a story, it doesn't resonate with you, hey, that's okay.
Mhm.
Then it's not for you. But
Right.
me telling my story, I'm betting there's someone else out there who will really resonate with this story and who it will really help. And if it helps one person, hopefully more, if it helps one person, then I've made a difference to that person, and that's a good thing.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right, so I'm going to end. If anybody has any questions or wants to give her some love, visit her links, give her a shout out, and so on and so on. But thank you for listening and tuning in, and thank you for being here. Really and truly, this has been wonderful. I appreciate that. And for those of you that are watching, thanks again for joining us. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Mwah. Please stay safe.
Thank you, Melinda. All the very best, and I'm sure we'll talk soon.
We will. Bye bye.
Bye bye.